This is 5 on your side at 6. Focused on you.
Right now, pro-Palestinian demonstrators are blocking Skinker near Washington University. People started gathering at Forest Park about an hour ago, around 5 o'clock. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Brent Solomon. Our Kelly Jackson has the night off. There's been a few tense moments, and our Robert Townsend joins us live from Forest Park Parkway and Skinker with what he's seeing right now. Robert.
Yeah, right now, hundreds of pro-Palestinian protesters are still out here in this neighborhood demonstrating. You see them right there. They are right between Forest Park and the WashU campus near Lindell. It was a non-violent demonstration about 30 minutes ago, but that's when a man drove his car through the crowd. Protesters then surrounded his car. When the guy hopped out of his car, he got into a fight with several protesters. They were banging on his car, beating up this man. The man then hopped back in his car, drove down the street, and then police stopped him just down the street and started talking to him. Again, the community group Expect Us helped organize this pro-Palestinian protest. Expect Us member and 14th Ward Alderman Rasheen Aldridge tells me they are standing in solidarity with the Palestinian community and calling for an end to the war in Gaza. Lots of folks here are holding signs, Palestinian flags. They're also speaking out against the deadly Hamas attack last October on southern Israel that killed about 1,200 folks. But again, outside of that fight that we saw 30 minutes ago, we have not seen any more fights, skirmishes, or clashes with St. Louis police officers. Definitely we're seeing lots of police officers keeping an eye on this crowd. Right now you're seeing them clapping, they're chanting, ceasefire, ceasefire. And that is the very situation. Again, you can hear them a little bit now. They're shouting, "Free Palestine, free Palestine." Just feet away from lots of new fencing that the Washington University officials put up this morning. Those fences there are all around this campus just to keep the grounds here at this campus safe. But again, easily now, more than 200 folks gathering here. Lots of students, lots of adults. I'm seeing parents with their dogs, even their pets. They're out here to spread their message. Live near Forest Park, I'm Robert Townsend. 5 on your side.
All right, very eventful. Robert will keep us updated through the night. By the way, we've been digging into the demonstrators' top demand. They want Washington University to divest from Boeing. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, is in studio now. Mark, you're following the money.
And Brent, there are quite a few roadblocks on that path to follow the money. WashU's endowment fund is worth $12.5 billion. Records show 63% of that money includes donor restrictions on how it's invested or spent. And SEC filings show just a fraction of the remainder of that money, $270 million, is reported as publicly traded. But how much of that, if any, is actually invested in Boeing? Campus protesters echoed a common refrain nationwide.
An end to funding war profiteers.
One of America's 5 largest defense contractors is based here in St. Louis.
Some of us were prepared to get arrested because we felt that's how important that this was, that WashU divest from Boeing.
British-based human rights group Amnesty International documented these bomb fragments in Gaza and traced their serial numbers to Boeing. It says the 2 October Israeli airstrikes came without warning and killed 43 Palestinian civilians, including 19 children.
Our universities are being challenged now. Fundamentally, who are they for? Are they for war contractors?
But what's the evidence WashU supports Boeing with its money? In their letter calling for WashU to divest, students acknowledge they're not quite sure. It says you don't know if WashU is actually invested in holdings of Boeing stock.
So, I think divestment also includes more than just financial, though, right? There are programs on this school that are like the Boeing programs.
Boeing has supported WashU with tuition assistance and internships. In 1997, WashU's Olin Business School used endowment funds to launch the Boeing Center for Technology, Information, and Manufacturing. It's that appearance of financial partnership that bothers this campus protester.
It's in their statement of how they invest is to do some statements of ethical lines.
In its documents, the endowment fund says it does not seek to profit from the violation of basic human rights.
To then say, yeah, we can associate with them, we can kind of support them, and then also say we support education across the world, we support ethical investments.
In 2020, Chancellor Andrew Martin wrote, quote, "We are equally committed to being more transparent about the endowment and It currently has absolutely no exposure to private prisons or weapons manufacturing. We asked if that remains true today. Neither the Chancellor, the Chief Investment Officer, nor Chief Operating Officer would answer. Even if WashU holds some stock in Boeing, even if it sold those shares, it's hard to see how that would hurt a $103 billion company. It certainly wouldn't stop Boeing from selling bombs or fighter jets to Israel. Only Congress can do that. And in following the money, that may be one reason Boeing spent $14.5 million lobbying Congress in the last year, and why its workforce donated almost $1 million to candidates running for Congress.
Mark, thank you. Hours ago, Governor Mike Parson ordered all flags in the state to be flown at half-staff tomorrow. This is in honor of Marine Sergeant Colin Arsalanbis. The St. Charles County native was killed in training exercises in North Carolina last month. His remains arrived at St. Louis Lambert Airport this afternoon. Today, our community honored his life with a procession down I-70 to a St. Charles County funeral home. 5 on your side's Megan Kernan joins us live in St. Charles County, where people lined overpasses and streets to pay their respects. Megan.
And less than 4 hours ago, hundreds of people filled the overpasses along I-70 to honor the fallen St. Charles County Marine Sergeant Colin Arsalanbis. His remains were escorted from St. Louis Lambert Airport all the way to Bowie Cave Springs in St. Charles. It closed portions of I-70 for about an hour. Sergeant Arsalanbis died after an April parachute accident near Camp Lejeune, less than a month after he was promoted to sergeant. Arsalanbis graduated from Fort Zumwalt West High School in 2019. The honor guard led the procession, filled with hundreds of vehicles. People lined up all along the route. They waved flags, saluted, and paused to thank the Marine for his service. A Vietnam War veteran we spoke with says he knows what it's like losing a loved one serving our country.
We lost our son in 2010. He was in the Marine Corps. And I remember the funeral procession when they brought him home, stopping traffic on I-70. It was just an amazing experience when we rode by the overpasses and saw all the people supporting us. So we want to be out here in turn supporting this family as well.
After the procession, the family held a private funeral service and burial. Live in St. Charles County, Megan Kernan, 5 on your side.
Law enforcement officers who lost their lives in the line of duty were remembered today. Let's take you to the scene in Clayton. St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney Wesley Bell attended the ceremony at St. Louis County Memorial Park. His father is a retired police officer.
It's a tough job. It's a difficult job. It's often a thankless job. And I think it's important to recognize that we're all in this together and that we're standing together. Also, we have families who have lost loved ones, and we want them to know that they are in our prayers, that we appreciate the sacrifices that they made.
This is the 46th year of that remembrance event.
For the first time in a decade, we may be one step closer to the St. Clair County Fair returning to the Clair Fairgrounds. 5 on your side's Holden Kerwicki explains why county leaders are investing millions to make it possible.
During the peak of the COVID pandemic, Clair Fairgrounds served as the center of operations for St. Clair County.
We did over 100,000 vaccinations at that site, and it really caused us to think about if we ever had a mass incident again, where could we go?
In December of 2022, St. Clair County agreed to use $2.3 million in American Rescue Plan funding to purchase the property, which had been privately owned for decades.
We decided to take the fairgrounds and redo it, repurpose it, and make it better.
That's why Chairman Mark Kern says St. Clair County is investing $14 million for improvements on the property, starting with a new HVAC system and electrical upgrades at the Expo Center.
We'll be making beautification improvements to the exterior of the building, but we're also going to be adding the capacity for 20 restrooms with showers, so if there ever is a terrible event that occurs, we'll be able to have temporary housing for St. Clair County residents at that fairgrounds.
Kern says there are also plans to relocate Clair Speedway, which closed in 2020, but the county still needs to find at least $5 million in funding to make that possible.
Part of this project, although we haven't got the funding in place yet, will be to build a new racetrack there and maybe enlarge it a little bit, make it a wonderful facility so that future family generations of families will be able to enjoy it.
Kern says renovation should be complete within the next year, which would allow the St. Clair County Fair to return to Belle Claire in 2025. Reporting in Belleville, Holden Kerwicki, 5 on your side.
Start later this month, Belle Claire will be temporarily downsizing operations. However, the flea market will continue to be held the third Saturday of every month.